Hello, Transformers. Hey guys, welcome to the June Transformation Tuesday review. I'm your host, Carrie Winchell, and welcome back. If this is not your first stop here, thank you so much for joining us today. And if you've been keeping up with every week of June's Transformation Tuesday, I appreciate your effort. And really, this is just your own self-effort, right? Because Transformation Tuesday, if you're tuning in, and if what I've been doing, if this resonates with you, this really is about you and your relationship with yourself, you and your relationship with your own personal development, your own expansion. So I do have notes today. This little perimenopause phase with the brain fog's been interesting, especially this week. So I want to make sure that saying the things that I need to say, because sometimes I think all my ideas, all the thoughts are in my head, and I'm not remembering to really talk about it. And last week I wanted to mention something that I forgot to mention, and so I'm gonna bring it up today. All right. So the first core belief, the first affirmation that we did in the first week of June was, I always have enough passive income. I always have enough passive income. And what does this look like for you in today's economy, right? Maybe for some people, passive income is they're not even at that point yet. They're just trying to focus on the income, that just regular income, right? They're just trying to be consistent with having regular income. And, you know, one of the things I mentioned is that I teach a class, and as a part of the class, I'm looking at the research. The name of the class is called Money and Your Mental Health. And a lot of the research is saying that Americans are having a hard time just being able to pay and manage day-to-day bills. So I don't know, what you need to do for your life, because really at the end of the day, right, I don't know your situation. And even if I did know your situation, it's not my place to tell you or to determine the moves that you need to make, but you know your situation, right? And at the end of the day, your mindset needs to be aligned with what you desire, what you would want to see different with your situation. And at the minimum, if you're recognizing that your mindset about money, your mindset about the desires that you want for your life, if that's not where it needs to be, then definitely there are some core beliefs there that you need to check, that you need to reframe. So I always have enough passive income. I think that's great if you already have a regular job, but you need more money. So how can you create another opportunity to have more passive income? Or maybe you need to find another job that's going to pay you more. But these are decisions that these are your own life decisions that you would need to make. And maybe there's fear there. Maybe there's fear. And that's why spaces like therapy is important, for you to be able to explore what are your barriers, what, if you're complacent, what is the complacency about, and what are the things that are inhibiting you from growing, okay? All right, the other core belief, I am releasing and healing past hurts. And I feel like hurts and trauma, because people have different emotional responses and different emotional exposure to hurts and trauma. It's not a topic that I want to necessarily delve into on the internet, right? I feel like these topics, I can pay more attention to them in private spaces and one-on-one spaces where there's more context. But speaking for myself, I personally don't think that the point of life is to wake up every day and to feel pain. I don't. I also feel like hurt and trauma need to be addressed. Like, they don't need to be swept under the rug, because walking around unresolved just creates more hurt and more trauma. But at the end of the day, again, speaking for myself, I don't think the point of my life is to wake up and to feel hurt or to feel emotional pain day to day, right? I think the point of my life is to have the full enjoyment of what I think I deserve in my life experience. And I don't believe in waking up and having to face day-to-day emotional pain. But that's my belief. That's my belief. So, yes, we do need to address and release our hurts so that you can move into the enjoyment of your life. Okay? When it comes to hurt and trauma, as I said, this is sensitive and individual. But I'm not here, I don't think we're here to live in pain. I also think that two things can be true at the same time. Actually, I think that at least two things can be true at the same time, and that life is filled with polarity and duality. So last week when I talk about, depending on if you see the glass half full or half empty, for some people, all they do see is pain and hurt, and that's the reality. Actually, if you turn on the news, right? Turn on the news at any point, and you could go to certain parts of this world or even this country, and you can see people living in some situations that's deplorable, or situations is traumatic every day, right? That's their reality. I don't want to say too much about that right now on this platform, but that is a reality. So I work under the school of psychology that is existentialism. And one of the premise, or the core premise, I should say, of existentialism is that for human beings, as much as the choices that are within your control, it is your responsibility to create the meaning and the satisfaction that you want for your life with the choices that you have that are within your control. I definitely think that there are external factors at play that they affect us directly or indirectly. And some of those things, you yourself might not have the resources to change or to control those things. However, you can explore and think about, within this situation, what are my choices though? What can I do? And maybe your choice might not affect things from an external perspective, but maybe it can affect things from an internal place, right? So maybe you're not able to change laws. Maybe you're not able to change policies, but you can change your mindset, right? You can change your mindset. Also, I'm not a trauma specialist. Like, trauma is not a specialty of mine, but yes, as a therapist, I do have core fundamental skills in helping clients with certain levels of emotional pain or emotional distress. But I know, when to tell a client, hey, I think you need to meet with a trauma specialist. I see myself more as thriving with clients when they're ready to be on the other side of their trauma. So when they're ready for expansion. So I would say I'm that person. I'm after you've done your healing and releasing, right? And we're ready to work on expansion. I think that's where I thrive with clients. So I am releasing and healing past hurts. All right. So the last week's core belief was everything is always working out for my highest good. Everything is always working out for my highest good. And honestly, I think that for me, because one of the things I talked about was optimism and pessimism. And last week I wanted to talk about realism as well, and I forgot to mention that. But I've been pessimistic, optimistic, and a realist at different times. However, I do identify as an optimist and as a realist. And I feel like there's been times that I've been delusional, but I feel like my brand of delusion is not delusion, right? I really feel like I'm one of these people. I believe that anything is possible. Anything is possible. And I think that sometimes, depending on your lens, being a realist can look like being a pessimist, and being a realist can also look like being an optimist, because it's going to come down to your version of what do you think is real? What do you think is possible? And we have different realities. What's realistic for me might trigger someone to be pessimistic, because it just might sound too grand, right? But it's realistic for me. It's believable. And a big part of that, again, is because I believe that anything is possible. So it's going to come down to what you believe. What do you believe is real? What do you believe is real? And yes, we do have to face reality, but again, people have different realities, right? For some people, $25,000 a month is not a lot of money. And for other people, $25,000 a month in income, that's a lot, right? That's a huge amount. And so maybe you've had a history of certain realities, but what core beliefs are those realities rooted in? Okay, what core beliefs are those realities rooted in? So my real and your real might be different, and believing that everything is working out for your highest good, I still think you believing that that's gonna affect if you are pessimistic, optimistic, and what realism looks like for you. All right, so I want us to finish off with a little relaxation exercise today. So take some time and get comfortable. So take some time and settle in wherever you're sitting or laying down. And just listen to your breathing. And let's take a deep inhalation and a long exhalation. Inhale. Let it all out on exhalation. One more. Inhale. Exhale. And let's just follow the natural rhythm of your breathing. Everything is always working out for my highest good. Things always work out for me. Everything is always working out for my highest good. Things are always working out for me. Everything is working out for my highest good. Things are always working out for me. Everything is always working out for my highest good. Things are always working out for me. Everything is always working out for my highest good. Things are always working out for me. Everything is always working out for my highest good. Things are always working out for me. Everything is always working out for my highest good. Things are always working out for me. Things are always working out for me. Things are always working out for me. I see things working out for me. I see things working out for me. Everything is always working out for my highest good. Okay. So let's take a few seconds to bring ourselves back. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers. Stretch if you want to. Big inhalation, big exhalation. All right, so I'm not sure if you're going through a situation right now, and I hope you can come back to this exercise as a grounding resource for what you're going through. But it is important that we work on our perspective and that we recognize that in the outcome of things that is working out for your highest good. And sometimes when we're disappointed, if you can find a way to look at that as not a disappointment, but maybe as a protection, I'm not sure. But find a way to look at it that's in a way that's going to serve you and serve your mindset. And it is my wish that everything will work out for your highest good. Okay? Thank you guys for joining Transformation Tuesday June Review. And again, summer is, I'm not really going to be consistent as we move through the entire summer in terms of doing Transformation Tuesday every week. And I think July, you're not going to get a weekly Transformation Tuesday in July. Just have a lot going on with work and life. And I want to center my life right now. So you guys enjoy an awesome summer. I will do a few Transformation Tuesdays, but it won't be every week in July. All right, so we'll catch up later.